Welcome to the course on Dynamics of Machinery, Unit number 3, 2 degrees of freedom systems, undamped vibrations. So, in the last class, we have seen the free vibration of spring coupled systems for longitudinal case, and now we are going to see the 2 degree of freedom torsional systems in this particular presentation. So, here you can see that there is one shaft, and at the end of this shaft, there are two discs mounted over it. And if I give the rotation to this particular shaft, okay, so this disc will the one will rotate by suppose an angular position theta 1, and this another disc will rotate in the same direction by angular position by angle theta 2. So there will be certain difference between these two. So if I am considering that this is rotating clockwise uh, or anti-clockwise, so it will rotate in the clockwise direction because of its inertia. So when there is some differences there between the rotations of these two discs, there is a twisting moment that will occur over here between these two, and it will start vibrating, and that mode of vibration will be called as the torsional vibration. So let us understand this, how we can get the natural frequency of vibration of this torsional vibration for a two rotor system. So this is one rotor having its mass moment of inertia I1, and this is another rotor having its mass moment of inertia I2, and this shaft is there which is having a torsional stiffness as Kt. So this torsional stiffness means nothing but T by theta. So twisting moment acting over that shaft and the deflection of this particular shaft, that is twisting moment. So suppose if I displace this particular disc in anti-clockwise direction, okay, by angular position of theta 1, so because of this particular stiffness, whatever the torque or the moment that will act over this shaft in the opposite direction, or the resistance that will be offered by this shaft will be Kt into theta 1. Now as I am giving rotation to this particular shaft by theta 1, similarly this another disc will also get rotated by some angle, so that is suppose theta 2. Okay, now there may be a difference between this position of rotation of theta 1 and theta 2. So if the theta 1 is greater than the theta 2, okay, so this theta 2 will also cause some resistance, okay, in the opposite direction to the motion, that is theta 1. So it will be Kt into theta 2. Same thing will happen in this case for this disc. So when this theta 2 is occurring in this direction, okay, so these are the nothing but the torques that is getting acting over this particular disc, Kt into theta 1 and Kt into theta 2. Okay, so these are nothing but the free body diagrams of these two masses. Same we can represent when you see the side view of it. So looking from this side, so this is theta 1, okay, and now these are the two torques which are acting over this particular disc mass. So suppose I will just add this, so it will be Kt into theta 1 minus theta 2, that is the total moment acting in this opposite direction. Similarly for this another disc, this is angular position of this theta 2 rotation over there, and in the same direction there is Kt into theta 1 minus theta 2, that much torque will be acting. And this same is shown here, the free body diagram of this disc and another disc. Now we let's write the equation with the help of these two. So if this is nothing but the directional rotation of this, so in the opposite direction there will be its inertia torque will act. Okay, so inertia torque will be I1 into theta 1 double dot. So because theta 1 is the displacement, so theta 1 dot will be nothing but velocity, and theta 1 double dot will be nothing but the acceleration. So we will find out that this I1 into theta 1 double dot, this direction and this direction Kt into theta 1 minus theta 2, it is same. So if I write this I1 into theta 1 double dot, that will be equal to minus Kt into theta 1 minus theta 2. And now if I make the simplification of this and move these terms towards left, so minus Kt into theta 1, when I move towards left side, it becomes plus Kt into theta 1. Okay, that is equal to this minus plus Kt into theta 2. Similarly, I will write the equation for this particular second disc now. So or you can say second rotor. So for rotor 2, I2 into theta 2 double dot. So because in this case again the direction of movement of this theta 2 is anti-clockwise. Okay, so the clockwise will be the resistance due to inertia. So it will be nothing but equal to I2 into theta 2 double dot. Okay, so theta 2 double dot will be like this, and now you will find here that these are in opposite directions. So therefore these will be equal. So as in this case it was in the same direction, so there was minus sign here. These are in opposite direction, so it will be positive sign here. So I2 into theta 2 double dot inertia torque acting on this particular disk will be equal to kt into theta 1 minus theta 2. Now I will try to simplify this, so just it is multiplied here kt into theta 1 first of all, and this also kt into theta 2. Now theta 1 I am keeping on the right hand side and theta 2 I am taking on the left hand side, so it will be minus kt into theta 2 becomes plus kt into theta 2 when I move to left side, so it is kt into theta 1 on the right hand side. Now with the use of these two equations, now we will try to find out the frequencies of these two rotor systems. So let us assume here in the solution that if theta 1 is equal to a sine of omega t and theta 2 is equal to b sine of omega t, so theta 1 double dot means acceleration of this will be equal to minus omega square a sine of omega t, and theta 2 double dot will be equal to minus b omega square sine of omega t. So if you substitute this theta and theta 1, theta 2, theta 1 double dot and theta 2 double dot in equation number 1 and 2, okay, and simplify these two to get the amplitude ratios, so we will get the frequency equation. It means simply you have to get the ratio of these amplitudes, so a by b by using equation number 1 and ratio of a by b by using equation number 2, because in all these equations there is theta 1 and theta 2, both the terms are there. So if you put this, you will get that ratios, and that ratios will be like this. So from the first equation you will get a by b is equal to kt upon in bracket kt minus I1 omega square, and from second equation you will get a by b is equal to kt minus I2 omega square divided by kt. Now just you have to equate these two ratios. So if you equate this and make the cross multiplication of that, you will get this frequency equation. So that frequency equation becomes I1 I2 omega raised to 4 minus I1 plus I2 into kt omega square equal to 0. So if I take omega square common from this, so in bracket it will be I1 I2 omega square minus in bracket I1 plus I2 into kt, that is equal to 0. So definitely now this term is in bracket, so one thing you will get here, that this omega square will be equal to 0 once, and then this remaining term will be equal to 0. So let us consider this first term, that is omega square will be equal to 0. So first natural frequency that you will get, that will be equal to 0. Okay, so for the two rotor system the first natural frequency is 0, because when this having the first natural frequency, it means both will be having the same displacement, so theta 1 and theta 2 will be equal and in the same direction. So actually there is no torsional vibration that will occur when omega theta 1 and theta 2 will be equal. Okay, now we will consider the second bracket, that is to be equated to 0. So I1 I2 omega square minus I1 plus I2 kt equal to 0. So from here I will find here that omega and n2 square will be equal to this I1 plus I2 divided by k into kt divided by L1 into L2. So omega n2 will be equal to under root of this particular term I1 plus I2 into kt divided by L1 L2. So this is nothing but the second natural frequency, and in this case now the amplitude of theta 1 the theta 1 and theta 2 will be different, and therefore it will have some value of the natural frequency of this two rotor system. Now we will see one more thing in case of torsional vibration, that is how we can get the torsionally equivalent shaft. So let us consider here that there is one shaft here, and this is one disc, this is another disc, okay, mounted over here, and this diameter is having the different size. So this is D1 diameter, this is D2, and this is D3. Different three diameters are there, and having their corresponding lengths L1, L2 and L3. Okay, so now we have to convert this particular system into a two rotor system, because we can find out the natural frequency for a two rotor system, for which we have just now seen how we can get the frequency equation. So simply we have to convert this kind of system, which may be having different diameters and different length of that particular shafts and two rotors at the end. So you have to convert into a particular equivalent diameter and equivalent length. So how we can get that equivalent diameter and equivalent length, that we will see now. So the total angle of twist for actual shaft should be equal to the sum of angle of twist for different shaft lengths L1, L2 and L3. That is requirement. Okay, so total angle of twist, if I say theta e, okay, that should be equal for the different lengths which over there. So theta 1 plus theta 2 plus theta 3, that must be equal. Now, so Since from torsion equation we can get that theta is equal to T into L by G into J. Okay, so we can write it for equivalent shaft, that is T into LE upon G into J. That is for the first shaft having this length L1. So I will write T into L1 by G into J1 plus T into L2 by G into J2 plus T into L3 by G into J3 for all these three shafts like this I have written. So as you can see here in this particular, that T by G is common in all terms, means torque and the modulus of rigidity, that is common. So then we can write that equation by removing that T by G. It will be LE upon J, that is equal to L1 by J1 plus L2 by J2 plus L3 by J3, like this you will get. And also if I put the value of J over there, that will be pi by 64 d raised to 4. So again pi by 64 will be common in all the terms, so only I have to write the d raised to 4 here. So LE by d raised to 4 will be equal to L1 d1 raised to 4, L2 d2 raised to 4 plus L3 dt raised to 4. And therefore equivalent length if I have to get for this particular shaft, so I will write L1 into d. Now this d I am going to shift towards right, so d by d1 plus d by d2 plus d by d3. Okay, and here you are finding the equivalent length of the shaft, which is a torsionally equivalent shaft. Okay, so in short, LE will be equal to L1 into bracket d by d1 bracket raised to 4 plus L2 d by d2 bracket raised to 4 plus L3 d by d3 bracket raised to 4. So this is what the two concepts that you have understood, that how we can get the natural frequency for a two rotor system and how we can convert a shaft into a torsionally equivalent shaft to make it become a two rotor system. So in the next presentation we will see some numericals on 2 degree of freedom systems. So thank you very much.